It is the final segment of the show. Straight facts, bro, relax. We are going to take a different twist from previous episodes, and it was a very dark week last week in the United States with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And as you two may know, I am not on the same side of the political aisle as Charlie Kirk. I do know your particular affiliations. I respect it greatly. Tony and I have had some great chats over the years, obviously not to the degree of these political commentators, but we definitely respect opinion. And it was Charlie Kirk's opinions that got him shot. And one political program that I really enjoy is Real Time with Bill Maher. And he tends to have Republican, conservative voices as his panelists, and had Ben Shapiro on after the Kirk assassination. I want to read a quote from Shapiro. And he said, "I never, honest to God, thought that we were going to get to the point, even the assassination of political figures is not the same thing as just being shot in the throat for the crime of debating issues in the public square." And I thought wrong. I being, of course, Ben Shapiro. That part, I have to say, is something that I don't agree with. Because look at the state of events that have taken over the past couple of years. You think about Gabby Giffords. You think about Steve Scalise. You think about Donald Trump, especially the one time in Butler, Pennsylvania. But you think about the second time when there was an apparent assassination attempt at a golf course nearby. Right. And I'm sure that you two have particular opinions to this. And I have to say that for me, it's not about who is more responsible, who does it worse. This is about those who like to poke the bear, those who support those opinions against those who have been poked. And the way I see it is that social media has just it's just evolved to a point where people cannot handle it.
Yes.
And I personally am a fan of legacy media. I do find it is an irony because, of course, this show is not on legacy media, but you have cancel culture that is obvious and so evident in legacy media, but then you have a violent culture in what is evolving today. And I don't think that this is the great alternative to legacy media. Tony, I know that you have a couple of thoughts. What do you think?
Disagree with you. The difference between those people you mentioned is that they're actual politicians. And so we've seen people take shots at politicians in the past. This was a guy who was doing exactly what we should be doing as a society. And that's having discourse, that's having conversations. That's, being out in the public square, like Ben Shapiro said, and debating. Prove me wrong. I'm not trying to change you, but I'm going to have a conversation with you. And the problem with Charlie Kirk is that he was flipping a lot of youth. He was getting them on board with what the country should start to look like again, or what would look like. And whether you agree with it or not, that instantly made him a threat. And in many ways, he was a bigger threat than some of these politicians because we have never seen a conservative movement for youth like this before in our lives in the States. You just never seen it before. Another thing that Ben Shapiro mentioned is, and the other thing I disagree with Sori, is that we do need to start looking at sides. We do need to start looking at where the blame should be laid here. It's not about, this is not both siding it anymore, Randy. This is a violent um, reaction to arguments that you can't win. You're not trying to debate. You're just trying to shout people down. And that's happening a hell of a lot more on the left now than it is on the right. So I think you have to parse that out. I think you have to look at that. I don't think we can be nice about it anymore. Um, just look at George Floyd and look at the reaction to that, as opposed to look at the reaction to what's happening out in the streets with Charlie Kirk. A lot of nice prayer vigils, a lot of nice protests, quiet prayer vigils for Charlie Kirk. Nothing's getting burned down. No businesses are getting destroyed. Nobody's getting shot. And to piggyback off of something else that Ben Shapiro said, and I agree with you on social media, it is a problem when it comes to that as well. But he also said there's been permission structures put in place to,
So you caught the episode. You caught the episode with Bill Maher.
well, no, he says this on his show as well. But yes, he
Oh,
talks about
okay.
the permission structures that have been put in place by Democrat politicians, the legacy media that you love so much, um, et cetera, to categorize speech and words as violence. And I think that's wrong. It's unless you're actually calling for the death of somebody, words are just words. And if we get to a point now where that's considered violence, where words are considered violence, then we got a long way to go. We got a problem. That's not the society I grew up in, and that's not a society I want to be a part of. And to sit there and to listen to some of your legacy media cohorts saying how Donald Trump needs to temper the rhetoric. Well, it's been over a decade where they've been calling him Hitler and a Nazi. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? There's a lot of vulnerable kids out there, right? Especially people in the
Sure.
trans community as well. Very vulnerable people. You keep poking, you talk about poking the bear. You keep telling him this guy is here to erase you. He's erasing you. He's dehumanizing you. He's violent with his words. What do you think is going to happen? All it takes is one person to be triggered by it, and we get to what we get to. So, what are the answers? What are the solutions? I have no idea, but this one hit hard because this is a kid, basically, 31-year-old kid with a family, um, not trying to hurt anybody. I've been on a rabbit hole of his stuff since his passing. It's just popped up in my timeline. And my God, it seems so simple, the discourse between him and people who are trying to challenge him. He's so respectful. He was so calm. It's insane. It's insane. And I don't know how it changes. I have zero confidence that the rhetoric will get tamped down because you saw what the celebrations were like after he passed. I mean, there's been hundreds of firings because just deranged people have been celebrating this guy's death. And it all has to do with just people who are ignorant, never listen to what he say, just echoing the same shit that gets put out there. He's a racist. He's a white supremacist. He wants to erase black people. It's the same routine over and over again. They all do it. And it hasn't worked. It's not working. And in fact, more and more people are calling out that bullshit. So that's why I'm thankful to have platforms like this. I'm thankful to have non-legacy media platforms doing as well as they are, because I think you're getting something a lot more real there. I really do. If you find the right balance, you're getting a lot better information than you are with legacy media because they're in on it. They're in on big time. They've got some blood on their hands too, Randy. And so that's where I disagree with you there. But yeah, man, shitty times. I don't know what else to say about it. Matt, I'll give you a shot at it too. But it's this one's sad. It's sad because it's just he did nothing other than just invite conversations, like I said. And he was good at it. He was good at it, and he became a threat, and they killed him for it.
Okay. Let me just I'm I have not watched any political commentary over the last several days, but I do have my own thoughts in my head that I can just unveil without, pointing towards other people. So last year, when Donald Trump was almost assassinated in Pennsylvania, leading up to that, the media were calling him a threat to democracy. And that was put out over and over and over again. And what did it do? It caused one youngster, I believe in his young teens, early 20s, to go to the top of the roof and try to shoot him. And Trump was saved by this much. This much. And then what happened was he got up, he was okay, and then you had the iconic image of him holding up his fist in the air, saying fight, fight, fight. What this needs now, the media, like Randy has said, it's influenced so many people. And social media, it's a good thing to keep in touch with society, but it's also a bad thing because if you're our youngsters, like in your young teens, early 20s, as mentioned before, that little age group, that demographic, you could be easily influenced by what you see online or on television or here on radio and just think that that's the truth when it's not. And it could eat you up. It can consume your mental process, and it can make you say, you know what? I want to take action. Because sometimes we hear the same stuff all the time. We just get sick and tired of hearing it, or we just don't like what we're hearing, and we just want to put an end to it. But as someone who's going to therapy, let me tell you this. Violence is not the answer. Never has been, and it never will be. And all I can think about right now is that two nuggets don't have their father to grow up with. And someone's a widow now because of the stupidity of someone's actions. I don't like it when that people are celebrating death of someone who, just like we said, he's inviting conversation. He's getting people to speak. He's getting people to, showcase what their knowledge and just ask questions and get information and maybe learn something. And all I learned was that there are some cruel people out there. And if you were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death and you lost your job, no offense, you deserve it. Because it's not professional, it's not appropriate, it's despicable, and it should not be allowed or tolerated. And it sickens me that this is not the first time this has happened. It's happened before in the past. Like, there are politicians that are getting threats or gunshots and like people are getting killed. Like, it's not right. And I think the three of us, I can sit here today and say, you know what? Stuff needs to change for the better. And it's not even about if you're left, right, middle. Violence is not the answer. And we need to talk. We need to be there for one another, and we need to have a conversation because sometimes talking is better than actions.
Well, a couple of things that I definitely want to unpack there, because what I refer to is in legacy media, which may be different to Tony's interpretation, is simply the 11 o'clock news and not the opinion shows, the opinion-laced shows on CNN, Fox, MSNBC. I mean, MSNBC, CNN, maybe they could be a part of the same team, but Fox, which we don't have in basic cable, Maddie, here in Canada, it is available, but you have to pay extra for it. Those opinion shows disguise themselves as news outlets.
Correct.
And between those legacy media programs, then you have the same, what I like to think is the same dynamic with Harry Sisson, with there's another Democrat, Brian Tyler Cohen. You think about Benny Johnson, excuse me. You think about Charlie Kirk, Megyn Kelly. They're all following the same line. If you're talking about, if you're somebody like Brian Tyler Cohen and you're talking about how Trump's plan to strengthen the border, you're going to lose followers. If you're going to be a guy like Benny Johnson and says that gun legislation needs to be more regulated, you're going to lose followers. People are saying that January 6th wasn't a big deal, that the cops were letting them all in, and the same depending on what aisle you are politically, the COVID vaccine was legitimate. It was a hoax. But guess who's going to say what? It's wherever they're on the political aisle. Here's another thing about social media that I am really against. And of course, I am hypocritical in saying this. But with legacy media, you don't have the potential of teenagers and younger kids seeing unedited footage and close-up footage of Charlie Kirk's assassination and that blood flowing out of his throat. That is something that I think is very, very valuable in legacy media. That kind of censorship is needed for kids today, because seeing those kind of videos, I'm sorry, whether it's this kid that shot Charlie Kirk, whether it's the kid that shot the supermarket in Buffalo, that they see these grotesque videos and it incites the rage, especially when you see tweets on Twitter. So, you go and see the vitriol that has taken place, and there has to be some sort of regulation. Like, how can there not be? So when, Tony, and I don't agree with the whole dynamic of they're all in on it, because with me, my bread and butter is the 11 o'clock news. I don't follow any of these magazine programs and the opinion programs. I do like Real Time with Bill Maher very much, because he has opened the door to the other side of the aisle. Now, and here's another thing too, which Ben Shapiro said on Bill Maher's show, was that 58%, now I don't know what poll Ben Shapiro got this from, but 58% of Gen Z says there needs to be something to do about violent culture. And Shapiro made the point that 42% of Gen Z thinks that, that issues need to be resolved with words and not actions. That's the 58%. 42% agrees with this kind of thinking, that violence is the answer. So when you have 42% of 340 million people in the United States, Maddie, that's an assload million amount of people.
It is, yes.
So
I don't think anybody in America was polled on that. That's why. I mean, some of the polls are.
Of course, sure, but I mean, from an observer's point of view, Tony, whether your daughters are teenagers or not, apologize, I don't really know, but
they are.
You have to think that they are subject to a lot more grotesque, a lot more vile messaging and video and content than you and I were subject to when we were their age. And give me that kind of content any day of the week. I mean, like, why would you want your daughters to see that kind of media of Charlie Kirk's as he was being shot? Hey, and call me guilty. I mean, I saw it as well. There's no way that the leaders of Twitter or Instagram or whoever could not immediately scrap that video and not have it shown on their platforms.
Well,
listen, the kids play video games that are extremely violent. The shit that's being told to them on just listening to rap music is the same shit. Like, you can influence a kid in a million different ways, just like we were, but we had less things to view when we were younger, for sure. But
which is social media.
But I think we're evading the real issue, and that's that we have accepted, and we live in a time now where I'll say it again. Words have become violence, and that's a structure that's been set up by just people who can't win the argument, people who have no other way to operate in a regular discourse, people who know they're wrong but need to fight because they want to stay in their get along gang and be a part of the group and toe the company line. That's where we're at now. I really do
Yeah.
believe it, that there's a structure in place where you just shout somebody down. You can't beat them in an argument. You're racist. You're a transphobe. You're a Nazi. That's the culture we live in now. That's the structure you see it in
Okay.
workplaces everywhere you work. I've
Sure.
been two different. I work for two different companies now. They're about as woke as you can get. Like it's unbelievable. Like it's
Mhm.
unreal. You know, it's we are here to please 1% of the population, and we are, lionizing victims, and we are making, and good people are paying the price for it. Good people are paying the price in our society today, right?
Okay.
I've never
So,
seen it like this before. It's unbelievable. But
and
yeah,
nobody has. Nobody has seen it like this.
and so
But
when we talk, so I'm saying when we talk about exposure to this or to that, at the end of the day, it's like how it was 20 years ago. It's up to us in our homes and how we raise our kids and how we talk to each other before they get out there in public. And hopefully you've reached through to them, you know. But it's tough. It's tough for sure.
Yeah.
no, well, you know what, Tony? I don't know how tough it would be, to tell you the truth, because, like, okay, now with regards to fake Instagram accounts, like, okay, the three of us, you know, let's focus on Instagram. Now, there are so many people, teenagers and young people especially. Maddie probably knows several, where you have a fake Instagram account, which is solely for trolling. So that means you're following thousands of people and you have so little followers, but it's solely made. I mean, Brian Colangelo apparently had a fake Twitter account, and he was using it for talking smack to like any one of his detractors. Apparently, Kevin Durant as well. Yeah,
Foreign bot accounts as well, Randy. Like you have a lot of foreign bot accounts.
Foreign bot accounts, of course.
People overseas
you mean to tell me
trying to divide us. Structures are
Sure.
in place to divide us as a society. 100%.
So, but you mean to tell me that Mark Zuckerberg can't flush out those fake Instagram accounts and those bot accounts? You mean to tell me that there is no
I think
possibility?
they tried their best. I think they work
Oh,
on
I
it
don't think
today.
so.
I
don't
think
know.
they do, but it's
I
that
don't think
fine
so.
line between free speech and censorship, right? You still have an obligation to free speech. One of the things I admire about the United States of America is that they're very serious about the First Amendment. I don't think we have as much as that going on in Canada like we once did. I think we're losing some of that. So it's free speach. It's just speech.
But what
You know,
exactly is free speech? But what does that mean exactly? Like, what does could free speech mean that I could say untowards comments to teenagers? Does free speech mean that I could say god awful things to any sort of visible minority? Or
yes, yes.
but I mean,
Does.
like, if I don't
It
mean
does.
it,
It
but if I
doesn't
don't
mean
mean it,
it doesn't mean it shouldn't come without some consequences here and there. Like you get fired for if I'm sitting here and I dehumanize you because we have different skin colors and my work hears it fires me. Fair game, absolutely. But should I be shot or go to jail for it?
okay,
No.
that's a completely different thing. Because what I'm getting at here,
That's
what
what
I'm
free
getting
speech
at,
should be, right?
that's what it should be. But free speech should not include trolling accounts, and specifically, like, I mean, take a look at any sort of. I'm going to pull one out of the air. Kobe Bryant's death, and all of those negative trolling comments that when Vanessa Bryant was suing the airliner, the helicopter company that or whatever, and like people were saying that Vanessa Bryant lost her looks. Vanessa Bryant already has so much money, she doesn't need to sue anybody. Kobe Bryant was cheating on, like, I mean, that to me is not free speech. That to
No.
me is hurtful comments. That to me, you should get thrown the book at. Now, for somebody who is on the left, and I think I've said this on the show, that if you have an elementary school class writing the city of Cleveland to oppose the team name Indians, I got a problem with that. For somebody who is on the left, you don't subject little kids to that kind of position because they're only little kids. I don't agree with the whole gender testosterone blocking the whole thing until you're of an adult age. Now, I know I'm getting way into the weeds here, but when it comes to free speech, I think it's a snap of a finger. I just don't think that these leaders of the social media companies, whether it's Instagram or X or Facebook,
Yeah.
there's so much money to be made from these trolls. Why would they want to give that up? I think it falls solely on them.
Like I said, they're the ones who influence a certain generation, and maybe even a little bit beyond that. Because if you're 20 to 30 years old, you're going to see 30 to 40-year-olds also use social media because you're at that age where you want to get ideas of how you can bring people into your business or get new customers or stuff of that nature. Like, whatever works to get you clicks, whatever works to get you followers, subscribers, whatever the case may be, that's what's going to work. Now, sometimes it could be a political based tactic. Sometimes it could be, your own narrative and just kind of putting and sprinkling it with sprinkling history with your own little position. But to me, I just think the most important thing about life is just be your authentic self with everything. And Charlie Kirk was authentic throughout his entire life, and it was taken away from him at a very young age.
And you know what?
Yep.
And it's not only Charlie Kirk, believe me. It's not only people on the right. I'm talking about people on the left as well.
Right.
When you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal political commentator, and you're saying that Trump is Hitler, and you're saying that all of these, and they're making mountains out of molehills when somebody doesn't agree with certain LGBTQ positions and all that sort of thing, I think you're just beating the company line. Now, I hope you guys can appreciate the fact that I'm using left-leaning examples here.
Yeah.
But I don't think that I think they're about as genuine as $3 bills. I really believe that. Every single opinion on these political shows, it's always on the same aisle. It's always positions and beliefs on the same aisle. Let me know when Brian Tyler Cohen supports Trump and actually goes off and talks about it. Let me know when Brian Tyler Cohen supports Trump's position on strengthening that border. I mean, let me know when. What else? Hey, even with tariffs, I got to tell you, as a Canadian, for somebody who lost his job potentially because of tariffs. Like, if I am the American president and say I want to promote steel manufacturing and production within my country, of course he should be doing that. How can one of the most powerful countries, if not the most powerful country in the world, not get their steel from countries like Canada? I mean, but you're not going to hear that on Brian Tyler Cohen's show. You're not going to hear that on Harry Sission's show. You're going to hear more so, and of course, I do think that there is some validity to some of Trump's tariffs, but you're not going to hear that. You are going to hear that. Sorry, please go ahead.
Here's something funny about that, because I consume a lot of conservative radio as well. And by the way, Megyn Kelly is an absolute star. I do not agree with you on your thoughts on her. She's very fair, and she calls out both sides on a regular basis. I encourage you to listen to her show more. But you'll see a lot of conservatives who have been critical of the tariff thing. I have listened to a lot of criticism for it. So it just goes to show you that they'll still call out their, Republican president. I've never seen that on the left. Never. I mean, especially during the Joe Biden years. Never. They toe
During
the
the
line.
Joe Biden.
That's why I'm saying they toe the line. They're all in on it, and it is impossible for them. Even though I think deep down a lot of them believe the common sense stuff that we all know. The elephant in the room. They can't do it. They can't do it. They cannot get off course. And so I just wanted to chime in on that because I've watched criticisms of Donald Trump. I've listened to Megyn Kelly said, look, he cannot just go into Chicago with federal agents and control crime in that city. He can't do it without that structure in place where he's allowed to go in there. DC.
But how
was
many
a different
political
situation.
commentators? How many political commentators are supporting that opinion amongst everything else?
The opinion of
specifically with regards to the
him.
military going into DC, Chicago, and all these other places.
Most people will support that opinion because it's fact. It's the law, right? And so they're going by the law. So you can't do it, right? You'll be in it. You'll face. But my point is that you can listen to certain conservative voices, and they will not be afraid to take shots at Donald Trump when they feel he's wrong. Like Pam Bondi's taken a beating the last few days from everybody in conservative media because of some of the statements she made about putting a stop to free speech. It's almost like she sounded like like a Democrat politician. So that's why I'm telling you, we can't both sides this thing this time around. I really can't. Like, there's too much crazy on the left now, and not enough common sense. And we've been seeing it for good 5-6 years at least, probably longer.
I think my response to that is we're seeing a lot of crazy versus we're seeing a lot less accountability from the right. And how many jokes were made about Paul Pelosi getting attacked in his own home with a hammer? How many times are we going to hear about the 2020 election being rigged and all of these court proceedings taking place? Donald Trump making fun of the person with, I think it was polio, and he was, mocking his movements. I think that was before or during his first Trump presidency.
I mean, that was debunked. I'm pretty sure that was debunked too.
Yeah, but it was debunked by him. I mean, because what else is he going to say? Like everything else. I mean, but
okay.
With all of the comments of Mexico paying for the wall, Canada being the 51st state, invading Greenland, and you got all of these comments, and accountability and so on. Hey, take a look at January 6th. I mean, how many? That was a madhouse, and the one specific item I had with Megyn Kelly was specific to January 6th. She was talking specifically with Bill Maher, ironically enough, on his show, and she was giving the whole thing about January 6th. The cops were letting those people in. Give me a break. Okay, I'm sorry, and we don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but
yeah, that's another show completely. We don't have enough time for that.
No,
yeah,
but
there's a lot of things that could be debated about that as well. And the one person who died there was a Trump supporter,
right, and the cop as well. So, and I think there were a couple of others also, but I think the reality is that there are so many layers. Don't know where it starts, where you're going to start with it, but I'm very, very thankful that I'm 46 years of age because I don't know what my life would be like if I was a teenager. Maddie, I don't know if you have any other final thoughts to this.
I honestly to put a bow on this on my perspective. I guess I can really just say I think if you have a certain thing on your mind, if you're not feeling 100% confident in what you're hearing, talk to somebody. because there's always people around you, whether it be friends or family, that can put you in a good mental space. Sometimes it's not even about political beliefs. Sometimes it's just like mental state of mind. And who better to put you in a mentally good place to prevent yourself from doing stuff like this than your family and friends? And I think that we need to utilize the people around us more so than ever, even if political beliefs aren't the same.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of value to that. And, pretty sure I said it to you guys as well. Like my father having brothers on different sides of the aisle and growing up with that, just the discussions, the debates, the arguing, and they always leave it at that table, and they never take it beyond those four walls, and have never gotten into a big war of words or big distancing from each other just because of a different opinion.
Right.
That's why I love you guys. But hey, maybe next time. Maybe next time we'll talk more about sports, okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Or whatever. Maybe if something else interesting comes about, we'll talk about it, because we talk about it like adults.
Yeah.